Hi everyone. There is a widespread misconception that sooner or later, all celebrities become too conceited. In other words, they grow arrogant and completely detach themselves from the outside world. Well, in psychology, this is indeed a fairly common occurrence, but that doesn't mean that all the celebrities are like this. In today's video, we'll prove that even incredibly famous people around the world can stay likable and easygoing. Let's get it on. Superhero armor. Today, in the era of superhero movies, every child dreams of becoming Iron Man. Well, or Batman, whichever they prefer. And Alex Pring is no exception. He's been a fan of Tony Stark comics since childhood and dreams of being like him. He also wants to shoot repulsor beams just like his favorite hero. There is one problem though. Because of a congenital condition, Alex doesn't have a right hand, and he's very upset about it. Well, that's where superheroes come into play. Robert Downey Jr., who plays the role of Tony Stark in the Marvel films, learned about Alex's story, and then he met Albert Monero, a young American scientist who uses 3D printing technology to manufacture bionic prostheses for children. Together with Microsoft, they came up with a plan, and Alex couldn't even suspect what they had in store for him. When all the preparations were completed, the boy was invited to a secret meeting, but he had no idea with whom. Inside the hotel room, a Hollywood actor dressed in the impeccable Tony Stark suit was waiting for him, but this was only the beginning. A few moments later, Robert Downey Jr. took out his trademark robot hand from the suitcase, and then the smaller copy. You can imagine how happy Alex was, although he didn't show it. In this situation, he retained composure like a real superhero would do. A prank from a celebrity. The nightmare of any cook. An award-winning British chef, a star of TV shows, and the hero of many internet memes. Yes, this is the great and mighty Gordon Ramsay, who, thanks to his role as a mad genius from Hell's Kitchen, gained popularity far beyond the borders of his homeland. However, Ramsay is feared, not only by professional chefs, but also by ordinary people. After all, he, as you know, also actively fights against unhealthy nutrition. Taking advantage of his villainous role, a legendary chef decided to play a little prank on the streets of London, right at the moment when people least expect it. A billboard with a photo of a celebrity was installed on one of the streets of London. Seems there's nothing strange about it. There are a lot of them all over the city. But the billboard was, of course, very special. In fact, a live image of Ramsay was broadcast on it, and he saw all the passers-by thanks to numerous hidden cameras. Here's what happened. The charismatic star stopped people passing by who were eating something on the go and forced them to show their lunch on camera. He did all this in his trademark sarcastic manner. This is not the only time that Ramsay's played pranks on citizens. Once he chose to play a joke over radio communications in a shopping center. Visitors were asked to answer some questions about the personality and cuisine of Ramsay, and they, of course, thought that the voice from the speaker was recorded in advance. But all this time, the chief was sitting nearby, listening to the revelations that the victims of the prank would hardly have dared to say to Ramsay in person.
Didn't like it. Get out of my shopping centre! Piss off!
And one time, Gordon came to the famous Madame Tussauds Museum to impersonate a wax statue and scare the onlookers to death. A very live photo. While all the fans of this series are sad that there won't be a fourth season this year, we'll tell you an incredible story about its actors. Last year, the cast of these Stranger Things kids played a similar prank with wax statues in New York. The local Madame Tussauds Museum made an announcement that a brand new wax exhibition with the heroes from the Netflix show was opened. Visitors were invited to sit on a bench with their favorite characters in the background. While they were posing, the real actors started moving, scaring the visitors. Unexpected video chat. There were the Beatles in the 60s, the Backstreet Boys in the 90s, and the Tokyo Hotel in the 2000s. These boy bands drove all the girls in the world crazy and gathered stadiums of devoted fans. Today, Korean pop group BTS is a top boy band, with fans proudly calling themselves the ARMY. They are so loyal that they live in tents near stadiums and fly around the world to attend their concerts. The band had a concert in Los Angeles a few years ago. Well, you can imagine how excited fans were to hear the news about the arrival of their favorite band. Fans started gathering around the venue a few days in advance to get the best spots. Mothers accompanied many of the girls who stood in the lines. Noticing all this excitement, well, it was hard to miss it. The writers of Jimmy Kimmel's show decided to play a little prank on the fans from the ARMY. To do this, they pretended they wanted to ask a couple of mums out of the crowd for an interview, but in fact, they were taken to the dressing rooms of the members of the band, and then they were all asked to call their daughters via video chat. You can see the faces of the fans. It's clear that they don't know whether to cry or laugh. Star Dance. In 2013, Pharrell Williams released his track Happy, the video for which has since garnered more than 1 billion views on YouTube. The singer, of course, was known long before the release of this hit, but he rose to fame 7 years ago, and the number of his fans began to grow exponentially. One of these fans is an ordinary girl, Holly, who in those years, like almost all of her peers, was crazy about the singer. Could she imagine that one day she'd see him in person, and not just at a concert, but during the most ordinary lunch with friends in a cafe? It all happened thanks to one British TV show that specializes in such surprises. The scriptwriters of the program learned the story of Holly, who'd recently lost her father, and decided to surprise her with the coolest flash mob and her favorite song. But they certainly didn't stop there. When the waiters and customers stopped dancing, the girl's idol suddenly appeared in person, in a branded hat and with a good-natured smile. Holly's reaction was so sweet and emotional that the video immediately went viral. Elevator surprise. The First Lady in the United States is a very important person, also in terms of politics. Naturally, she not only chooses the color of the toys on the Christmas tree, those who've all watched House of Cards will understand the reference, but also puts forward important public initiatives. As a rule, the people treat the president's wife favorably, but few are so adored as Michelle Obama. Yes, for many ordinary Americans, meeting the wife of a former president would be the event of a lifetime. So, Michelle's close friend and TV host Jimmy Fallon decided to test their reactions. Together with the former First Lady, they stayed in the lobby of one of the floors of 30 Rockefeller Plaza, a famous skyscraper right in the center of Manhattan. Well, there, they did everything they could, sang and played the piano, skipped the rope and showed some magic tricks. One of the employees of the TV channel called the elevator, and it stopped on the floor with a bunch of passengers inside. Well, as soon as the visitors understood who was in front of them, the doors were immediately closed. It's a shame, isn't it? Surprise on the set. In 2017, the creators of Star Wars decided to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the first part of the space saga in an unusual way. They wanted to shoot a short video in which the most dedicated fans will act out iconic scenes from the films, but none of them had any idea that the real Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill himself, would be on the set. He appeared in front of the fans at the most unexpected moment, while they acted to the best of their abilities. The emotions on their face, of course, are priceless.
That came with a hand. Did you bring that too, Natalie?
Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father. I am
Mark Hamill!
Oh my God!
A trip to remember. Many taxi drivers dream of giving a lift to an incredibly popular celebrity one day, but the heroes of our next story found themselves in quite the opposite situation. They were lucky to take part in the popular internet show, where the real celebrities were driving a taxi. At first, of course, they hide their faces, and then at the most unexpected moment, they appear to the fans in all their glory. American singer Demi Lovato took part in one of these shows. The funny thing is that she discussed the pop rock band the Jonas Brothers with the passengers. Keep in mind that Lovato performed with the band multiple times. There were also funny situations when she and her clients were discussing Lovato herself. Romantic song. Uninvited guests at the wedding doesn't sound like a good idea, but not in this case. Last year, movie stars Dwayne Johnson and Danny DeVito were in Mexico for Jumanji: The Next Level press tour. One evening, they heard that a wedding was taking place in their hotel in Cabo San Lucas, so why not cheer up the newlyweds at the party? In short, the actors dropped by, sang a touching song to the newlyweds, and took a bunch of photos, so everyone was happy.
Forevermore.
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 Yeah, that's how.
Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.